Yo, Kim Kardashian just got caught in the most jaw-dropping mom fail of the year. Her 12-year-old daughter dropped her first ever album, and Kim wasn't even in the same zip code. Instead, she pulled the most nuclear move possible, choosing a man over her own child's biggest moment. And Kim really thought nobody was gonna notice this? Brew, she just signed her own Mother of the Year obituary on live TV. Before we get into it, subscribe, don't miss it. Nah. Kimberly No Kardashian. Yeah, Kim K herself. Skipped her daughter Northwest debut EP launch event N0RTH4Ev, which dropped May 1st, 2026, with Complex sponsor pop-up at 433 N Fairfax Avenue in Los Angeles. The event ran May 1st and 2nd, and not a single Kardashian sister, mom, or auntie walked through that door. Kim really thought picking up a Formula One boyfriend was a smarter move than supporting her own kid. Brew, that's wild. Now let's get into the receipts that show why this is way deeper than missing a party. Look, I need you all to brace yourselves because the receipts on this one are staggering. Let me walk you through the actual quotes that have the internet on fire. In a TMZ report dated May 2nd, 2026, the outlet wrote about Kanye and Bianca's pop-up appearance. Kanye West and Bianca Censori show up to support North's LA pop-up shop. When I read that, I had to do a triple take. Because where's Mom? Where's Auntie Chloe? Where's the whole family that's been pumping North's name as a future of the Kardashian dynasty? Then Complex magazine themselves dropped this on their own platform on May 2nd, 2026. Ye, a longtime figure in the fashion world himself, took pictures and signed merch for fans, as did his 12-year-old daughter, whom he shares with Kim. Notice the wording, whom he shares with Kim. Kim got mentioned as a footnote at her own daughter's debut. That right there? That's where Kim lost the plot. Now here's where it gets wilder. Page 6 reported on April 27, 2026. Kim Kardashian and Lewis Hamilton were photographed arriving in Los Angeles after leaving London together. Bro said, what? You flew across an ocean to scoop a man, but you can't drive 15 minutes down Fairfax Avenue for your own daughter? That's the dumbest priority list I've ever seen. The U.S. Sun went IN on April 10, 2026, reporting, the mum of 445 flew into the UK on her private jet on Tuesday to see the F1 driver in a bid to keep their long-distance romance alive. When I heard bid to keep their romance alive, I was like, you're 45 years old and chasing a man harder than you're championing your firstborn. Nah, you can't be serious. Then InStyle posted on May 1st, 2026. The 12-year-old, whose parents are Kim Kardashian and Kanye West, celebrated her first album's release on Friday night by debuting her boldest look yet. You all hear that? Whose parents are Kim Kardashian and Kanye West, but only any of those parents was physically there cheering. That line right there exposes everything. News added LA on May 2nd, 2026. Rob Kardashian makes Ray's social media return to support Northwest's new album. When I read this one, I lost it. Rob Kardashian, the man who hasn't posted in years, broke his social media silence to support North. Rob, the shyest Kardashian. But Kim, the loudest one, couldn't show up in person. Bro really got cooked by his own brother. That's crazy work. And Billboard confirmed on May 1st, 2026. EP opener H0W Shazirwood IF33L features a sample of 2006 Meg and Dia's Monster. The 12-year-old artist opens up about her life of childhood fame. So this little girl literally made a song about how childhood fame feels, and her own mother chose not to be in the room when it dropped? That's the move of someone who's avoiding something. Now that we got the quotes, let's connect the dots. Alright, listen, the timeline on this is where the source is. You all didn't notice this though. That whirlwind London trip? It happened roughly 4 days before the EP dropped. Kim already knew her daughter's debut was around the corner, and she still booked the transatlantic bull run anyway. So Kim did this 4 days before her own daughter's biggest career moment? That's terrible scheduling. Brew, unless missing it was a point. That Complex pop-up? It was a 2-day event, Friday, May 1st and Saturday, May 2nd. That's 48 hours, 2 full days, multiple windows where Kim could have slid through with sunglasses and a hoodie if she really wanted to. But she didn't. Any caring mom would have made it work. But Kim isn't operating on mom logic right now. She's operating on Lewis Hamilton logic. Now check the business connections nobody's talking about. SKIMS hit a $5 billion valuation according to Billionaires Africa reporting. And Fox News confirmed back in 2022 that Thrive Capital, Kushner's venture capital firm, had invested $154 million in SKIMS. That's heavy-duty money tied to people who allegedly do not mess with Kanye's politics. Connect that dot. Remember the Ray social media post? Rob did that the same day Kim was MIA from the in-person event. That's not coincidence. That's a family scrambling to plug the hole Kim left. Kim really thought a delete and deflect strategy was gonna work. Any smart PR team would have staged a 5-minute cameo to kill the narrative. But Kim isn't smart right now. She's distracted. Then there's the bigger pattern. Earlier reports, the Lipstick Alley thread on the situation literally has a title. Kim Kardashian misses daughter North's album release party to pick up new flame Lewis Hamilton. When the community frames a headline like that before the mainstream catches up, you know the streets already convicted her. And that Kanye Sophie Stadium run? Bloomberg reported. He sold out 2 shows at Sophie Stadium in Los Angeles this past week, earning $33 million. That happened just weeks before North's drop. So Kanye walked into this pop-up off the back of a $33 million comeback win, while Kim was off chasing a man across continents. The optics already tilted before the album even released. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Now check this out. Nobody's talking about this layer. Zoom into ONE word from that complex write-up, the word shares. Whom he shares with Kim. That single verb is doing heavy work. It frames Kanye as the active parent and Kim as the absent co-owner. That's not journalistic accident. That's how the rooms present now read this dynamic. Kim got linguistically demoted at her own kid's launch. That's embarrassing. Now zoom into Bianca's outfit, specifically the eyebrow piercing. You're not catching how loud that is. An eyebrow piercing isn't a spontaneous accessory. That's a bonding gesture. North wore studded grunge hair. Bianca matched the energy. That single piercing said, "I see you, kid, and I'm rocking with whatever phase you're in." When I noticed that detail, I had to sit down, because Kim couldn't even send a Postmates flower delivery to compete with that. Look at the ginger hair switch too. Bianca's been routinely platinum blonde for the entire Kanye era, and she dyed it ginger right in time for North event. That's not coincidence, that's commitment. She literally changed her appearance to walk into a 12-year-old's environment as a step-parent in solidarity. And Kim was where? On a runway tarmac. Bianca didn't have to do all that. She chose to. And that strategic move is gonna haunt Kim's branding for months. Then peep the location forensics. Complex LA, 433 and Fairfax. Fairfax is the heartbeat of LA's streetwear culture. Supreme. Round 2. The whole hypebeast corridor. Putting North's first pop-up there wasn't random. It's a cosign from the streetwear gods that Kanye built relationships with for 2 decades. That entire venue is part of Ye's footprint. And Kim showing up there would have been her standing in his house. That's allegedly part of why she dipped. If Kim had half a strategic brain, she would have shown her face anyway and reclaimed the room. But she chickened out. Now look at Rob's social pattern. Rob Kardashian doesn't post. Period. He's been ghost for years. Yet this particular Friday, he resurfaced. That's not a casual return. That's a controlled release. The family allegedly needed a Kardashian male presence on the timeline because the optics were already collapsing. That's PR damage controlled disguised as wholesome uncle love. And Kim still couldn't beat that. Nah, that's a problem with Kim. She keeps thinking the public won't connect dots that are literally drawn in neon. Now let's see how the media covered this. So here's where it gets messy. Different outlets are framing this story like they are covering different events. TMZ leaned into the wholesome support angle, framing Kanye and Bianca as warm family figures showing up for their daughter. They didn't even put Kim's absence in the headline. That's a soft glove framing that protects Kim's brand portfolio. Suspicious, right? Meanwhile, People magazine spun it differently, going wide with the Kardashian-Jenner family supports North headline, listing every cousin and auntie that posted a story online. But remember those bodies in that pop-up? People conveniently buried the fact that none of those Kardashians were physically there. They confused Instagram support with actually showing up. Then news went a different route entirely, making Rob the headline story. Framed the absence as a non-story by spotlighting Rob's rare return. That's a deflection play. They knew Kim was a real story but pivoted to a feel-good cousin angle. Page 6 in the U.S. Sun. They were the ONLY outlets connecting the dots, framing Kim's whereabouts honestly, focus on the Lewis Hamilton trip. They put the timeline together. The other outlets pretended the timeline didn't exist. Now some Kim defenders are saying she didn't want to overshadow North. Brew. That's cap. Without the Kardashian last name, that pop-up wouldn't even have a press release. Those are the same fans who thought the Met Gala ballet core controversy was a fashion win. You're reaching. The narrative spin trying to protect Kim doesn't hold up against the receipts. The media trying to soften this for Kim, but the timeline don't lie. But here's what nobody is saying. Alright, buckle up, because this is where I'm about to drop the take that's gonna get me cancelled on Instagram. The mainstream is selling you that this was just a scheduling conflict. That Kim was busy. That co-parenting is messy. That Bianca and Kim just have personalities that don't mix. Cute story. Here's what they won't tell you. This isn't about a boyfriend. This isn't about Bianca. This is about money. Specifically, about which investors Kim cannot afford to anger. Kim's empire is leveraged on global capital. SKIMS expanded into multiple Middle Eastern markets, and that $5 billion valuation exists because international money believed the brand. Kanye, fairly or unfairly, has alienated big chunks of that investor class with his public statements over the past few years. So when Kim has to choose between standing next to Kanye in a public photo or protecting $1 billion valuation, guess what she's choosing? Every single time. Kim is a puppet, and the cap table is pulling the strings. Now here's a historical pattern angle. We've seen this before with stage moms in this exact lane. Joe Jackson, Matthew Knowles, Lynn Spears. The pattern is always the same. Parents build a child into a brand. Then the moment business interests collide with the child's personal milestones, the business wins. Every time. And the kid pays the emotional bill 10 years later in therapy. Kim is repeating the same mistakes that ended Lynn Spears' relationship with Britney. She's just doing it with better lighting. The cultural impact angle is even wilder. We're watching real-time what happens when a momager-built empire starts cracking. The Kardashian brand was built on the illusion of family first. That's literally the show's tagline. The entire mythology of Calabasas was that no matter what happened publicly, the women circle a wagon for each other and for the kids. Kim just obliterated that mythology in one weekend. Kim represents the old guard of celebrity branding that the culture is done with, the kind that performs maternal love on Instagram while jet-setting through the actual moments. Gen Z sees right through it. Now psychological warfare. You'll remember Kanye said publicly Kim had been blocking his access to the kids during the divorce era. Watch this play backwards now. Kanye and Bianca showing up together, signing merch, eating ice cream with North on camera, taking pictures with fans. That's a checkmate move. It quietly tells the public, I'm the parent who shows up, she's the parent who flies away. Kanye is playing 4D chess while Kim is playing solitaire on a private jet. Every move Kim makes right now is predictable, and Kanye's team is anticipating each one. Authenticity? Kim's brand has always been the most relatable billionaire. The mom-coded, struggle-coded, divorce-coded. I get you, girl. But that brand only works if the maternal performance stays consistent. The moment the receipt shows she'll skip her own daughter's biggest day to chase a man, that whole foundation cracks. Kim's persona is manufactured, and the cracks are showing in HD. She's trying to rewrite herself as a soft-launch boyfriend-era girly, but you can't rebrand a 20-year mom narrative on a private jet trip. The math doesn't math, and that's the truth they won't tell you. So what happens next? Here's what's most likely to happen, and you'll heard it here first. Within the next 30 days, expect a Kardashian machine PR pivot. Watch, Kim's gonna stage a private mother-daughter moment with North that conveniently leaks to TMZ. Probably a sushi dinner. Probably a pottery class. Probably some "we were celebrating in private all along" narrative drop. When that stage moment hits, Kim is gonna look desperate trying to retrofit the timeline. The internet's already screenshot the receipts. The cleanup is gonna look like cleanup. Kim's about to be forever clocked as a mom who needed a damage control photo shoot to fake a moment she could have had for free. Now, if the alternative path happens, and Kim doubles down on the Lewis Hamilton era publicly instead of pivoting to motherhood content, it's gonna get UGLY. Watch what happens. Kanye's camp is gonna lean all the way into active father content. Every pop-up, every studio session, every signing. Bianca's gonna keep showing up dressed for the kid demographic. And every photo is gonna be a quiet jab at Kim's absence. Kim is not ready for what happens when Kanye decides to weaponize being a present parent. We saw what Kanye did to entire labels and entire institutions when he locked in. Kim doesn't stand a chance in that war if it escalates. Looking at the bigger picture, this moment is way larger than one pop-up. North is 12. She's literally watching this play out in real time. That's not something a kid forgets. 5 years from now, when North is 17 with full creative control over her own narrative, she's gonna remember who showed up to the Fairfax pop-up and who didn't. And the way Kanye's been daddy's home coded the past 2 years, that's a parent she's gonna align with publicly. Kim is about to lose her oldest daughter to a custody narrative she can't undo. Mark my words, Northwest is gonna do an interview at 18 that quotes this exact weekend, and Kim is gonna age 10 years that day. Kim is watching the culture move on without her, and there's nothing she can do about it. The industry consequences are gonna ripple too. Brand partners watching this dynamic are gonna start hedging. Why bet on the Kardashian family narrative when the family is publicly fracturing? Expect at least one major SKIPS partnership to quietly not renew in 2026. Expect the Hulu show ratings to take a hit when this drops in the next season's edit. The whole momager economy is built on the family illusion, and Kim just put a crack in the foundation. Whatever happens, one thing's clear. Kim already lost. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed uncovering the real story, smash that like button and hit subscribe so you never miss when we expose what everyone else is too scared to say.